I've had this store on my list of places to visit and buy from for a long time now. The only problem is that it's all the way on the other side of the country. But recently, I had the chance to finally check it out in person and tour the Waterfront SLC. So, why travel thousands of miles just to visit one aquarium store? Because this is no ordinary store. These guys carry some of the rarest fish I've ever seen, many of which I've never even heard of before. Are you looking for a rare fish, a monster fish, or a centerpiece fish that people would drive hours just to see? Then this is your place. As a bonus, while I was there, I found a cichlid I've been searching for a long time, and I'll show it to you at the end of the video. So let's check out some of these incredible fish. Get ready to be more surprised than my wife was when I flew across the country and still managed to find a fish store and buy more fish. Now, I want to point out they carry a little bit of everything. If you want to stock a tank full of stunning peacock cichlids, they've got you covered. And if you need tetras or live bearers for a community tank, no problem. So even if you're not hunting for rare fish, don't cross them off your list. And while you're browsing the more common fish, it's the perfect time to mentally design your dream tank. When you walk through the front entrance, it's immediately clear you're about to see something special because there is a massive monster fish tank that greets you right at the door. The whole store is laid out in a large warehouse-style room with two center rows and tanks lining the outer walls, stacking 3 high. They also carry some dry goods, including the coveted aquarium co-op products and a small selection of hardscape materials, as well as some live plants. I briefly met Lewis, the owner, and spent a little more time talking to Taylor, who was super helpful. In fact, after touring the whole store, Taylor helped me buy an incredible cichlid I've been wanting for a long time. The store has been running for about 5 years, and when it comes to rare fish, it is all about connections, and it's clear these guys have some serious connections. So let's take a look at some of these rare fish. If I misidentify any of them and you know what they are, drop a correction in the comments. And while you're down there, let me know which one of these would be your dream fish. Also, pronunciation alert, if I mispronounce the names of a species, I am definitely doing it to annoy the crap out of you. So just know that this is with great forethought and malicious intent that I do this, so please enjoy this tiny violin just for you. Okay, now let's go check out the fish. This tank definitely awakened something in me. I never knew that I could ever want sturgeon until I saw this tank. They were so active and so fun to watch, just swimming all over the tank, and they looked absolutely amazing in this tank. I know they get massive and huge, but I just want them now. They did have a lot of community fish. They had these humpback lemia, I think is what they're called. I've looked them up. Apparently they're a rare species, endangered species, but they looked pretty good. Lots of different kinds of tetras and other more community fish like these angels, and some Pterophyllum sclari. These guys looked like they were F1s or wild caught or something. I'm not sure. It wasn't actually written on the tank, but they look exactly like the ones that I have. And then lots of other community fish tanks, live bearers, things like that. But like I said, not just rare fish that you can't buy, lots of different fish that you definitely could buy, and they all look just as healthy as all the rare fish. So I would definitely consider them a source for pretty much anything that you would want to buy. Stingrays are another fish that I have always wanted to own, but so far have not had the guts to pull the trigger on yet. I need something very big before I'm ready to take care of these. But every time I go to a store and I see them, or an aquarium, and I see them swimming around, they take all my attention, and I spend a long time at their tanks. I just love the way they move through the sand and the way they bury themselves. Not to mention when they flip up against the glass, they always look like they're smiling at you. Just one of my favorite things that they do. They had a black diamond stingray. They had this really awesome one that I loved. I think it was called a spider Motoro stingray. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then a tiger pearl stingray that was mostly hidden underneath the sand the whole time. But the color and patterns that they had on their bodies was just so cool. The spider Motoro stingray was so active and all over the tank the entire time. Definitely something I want to own one day whenever I have the ability to probably build a large plywood aquarium. I think I'm going to be getting these for sure. They had ranchu goldfish, which are just the funniest looking fish that I've ever seen. If you own these fish, Tell me in the comments section how many animals you rescue from shelters a week. They are just so cute and just a little bit pitiful. So I feel like if you own them, it's because you love pitiful animals. But I love their colors. I just also feel bad that they exist. That said, I'd probably keep them if I ever got into goldfish because they are awesome. They also had so many different arowanas there. Another big fish that I don't know a ton about. I love these arowanas. I think they're albino arowanas. I just love that little red in the tip of their fins. But they were just absolutely beautiful. And these blackberry silver dollars, I think that's what they're called, swimming around with them were pretty darn awesome. Arowana is another dream fish that I have. As you can see, I have a lot of dream fish, but I would love to own one day whenever I can get some monster tanks going. Currently not something that would be possible for me at the moment. After I looked at all the arowanas, there were just a ton of big cichlid tanks. One of my favorite big cichlids was this red Dovi cichlid right here. Oh my gosh, the coloration on this guy. I know he's probably mean as all get out, but he is just absolutely stunning with the red and the yellow. And I can totally see why people love keeping these guys in a species only tank. Just tons of personality, tons to look at, absolutely beautiful. This is a wolf cichlid. Wasn't really fired up, colored up at all, but another big mean cichlid. Lots of other Central and South American fish, some Jack Dempsey's that looked pretty darn good. They had some huge Nicaraguan cichlids as well as some huge green terrors. Always nice when you can buy fish already big. Also because they take a while to color up sometimes, especially the Nicaraguans. Convict cichlids, for you convicts out there. I've never owned these, but of course a lot of people have. These firemouth cichlids were fired up, no pun intended, looked amazing. And then these peacock bass, what were they called? I'm trying to remember these. I think I'm going to zoom in on it here. Right there, cobra snakeskin bass looked amazing. And then this awesome Midas cichlid, which these guys always look cool. It looks like they have some kind of quarantine system. I forgot to ask them exactly what they do for quarantine on their tanks, but the fish all look very healthy. This is just my anecdotal evidence, but honestly, when I buy big cichlids that have obviously been alive for a while, they do seem to be pretty healthy when I get them. So I don't know what their quarantine system is, but the fish did seem very active and very healthy, and obviously they had been around long enough that they were obviously healthy enough to be around long enough. But this guy absolutely looked incredible. Definitely would love to have him at my house. There were a lot of different South American fish that they had there. Once again, another one on my bucket fish, the archer fish. I know about these guys that will spit water out of the tank, and the idea is to hit bugs and drop them into the tank so that they can eat them, or into the river. I guess that's what they do in the wild. I would love to see that in person, just own them. That would be so fun. But they also look amazing, and they're very active going back and forth in the tank. Electric blue acaras are some of my favorite cichlids, and I have quite a few. These guys were very, very big and very colored up. They looked great hanging out with some Congo tetras, and I'm not sure what that other cichlid is. But if you're not into the electric blue variety, then they had some regular blue acaras, which actually I've never seen in person. They had lots of different South American cichlids, including geos, some geotapajos, some balzani geos, which is another one of the few geos that I haven't owned yet. And they had some others. I'm trying to remember exactly what they were, but they were just some other kinds of geos. In here was some Chinese algae eaters, but they all looked very good, very healthy. Definitely loved those guys. Also, neat cichlids and topaz cichlids, neither of which that I've read or know much about. I think I've read that neat cichlids are very aggressive. And then they had a few tanks of Oscars that all looked pretty great. And these Oscars were probably the smallest that I've ever seen in this store, which is probably a good thing for Oscars. Get them tiny, they grow big. I don't know where these guys are sourcing their Lake Malawi cichlids from, but just about every tank of Lake Malawi cichlids was just fired up and so colorful. I've been to so many stores where you walk in and they're just bland and just kind of meh, or just an entire tank of OBs that nobody wants and they've been sitting there for a very long time. Every one of their Malawi cichlid tanks, all of these peacocks, all the small ones, the big ones, didn't matter what it was, they were just so colored up. And they had these huge haps, as you can see here, really big, fully grown, colorful cichlids. Absolutely amazing. The only thing that was sad about it was that they cost so much, and I wish I had like $1,000 to drop and buy like 8 fish from them because they were just so colorful and fired up. Definitely a dream tank that I would love to set up. Not that I want to miss the grow out process. It's fun to see a fish color up, but also who can say that they wouldn't want to just have them fired up and colored up immediately and almost basically full grown. Had some awesome blue dolphin cichlids, as well as a few other peacocks that are currently on my bucket list that I actually need for some tanks that I'm trying to fill up right now. I have a bunch of colorful peacocks, but I really want some blue dolphins and also some haps. That's really the main fish that I need right now, other than the one that I bought, which I'm excited to show you and actually makes an appearance in this video, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is until the very end. But definitely a great source for Malawi cichlids if you're in the market for those. And they had different sizes and different prices, so they weren't all overly expensive. There are definitely some that normal human beings like you and me could probably afford. But also, if you're just setting up a dream tank, oh man, if you really want something amazing, then I would definitely recommend looking at these guys. And that includes the Mbuna, which they had a pretty good selection of Mbuna cichlids. If you're looking for something a little bit smaller, maybe to go for a little bit smaller tank, and definitely with that little bit higher aggression as well. Lake Tanganyika wasn't ignored. They had this awesome Compressiceps. They didn't have as many Lake Tanganyikan as Malawi cichlids. I don't know if that's all the time or just the day that I was there. Had a Burchardi and a really beautiful Brevis. Just the two of them in the tank. I'm not sure if somebody had come and grabbed the other ones. But what was really amazing is this next fish that you're about to see. I had never heard of this guy. Didn't even know it was a Tanganyikan cichlid. It's a Bellicrosi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Very cool looking fish, but apparently it is a kind of an ambush predator from Lake Tanganyika that I had never heard of nor seen, and didn't even realize it was Lake Tanganyika until I got home and looked it up. They also had these Tricotti cichlids, which are another very rare Lake Tanganyikan cichlid. They had some awesome pike cichlids. Oh my gosh, I had never seen these in person. These Venezuelan pikes, as well as some other South American pike cichlids. I don't know exactly which one this is. The next one, I believe, is a spot face pike cichlid. I looked it up. Not very familiar with the pike cichlids, but I could definitely see why somebody would want to keep these in a species-only tank or with something else big and aggressive. Some oddballs here, a jumbo vampire shrimp who didn't really want to come out for me. Didn't realize how jumbo these things actually were until I saw them in person. If you like keeping fish that live for 100 years, here's a lungfish and some huge datinoid fish, which were, yeah, like I said, very, very big. And if you have a big tank and you got something to put them in. This guy was so full of personality, as all flower horns are. And I just loved looking at the size of his head. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely massive. Massive. Loved looking at this amazing cichlid. I had never heard of a spangled gudgeon before. Wasn't very active. Still don't know very much about it. Not sure why anybody would want to keep it. This silver Argentea cichlid was so beautiful. So many awesome colors on that guy. Sat there, watched him for quite a while. But if you know anything about this gudgeon, let me know down in the comments section. They had a ton of Bichers, Bikers. Yeah, everybody says that differently. Another one that I'm not very familiar with, but they were pretty cool and apparently very rare, especially you can see from the price of them. But lots of different varieties there that they have. I don't know anything about a jumbo red-tail Payara, but it was a pretty cool looking fish. They also had a ton of these bala sharks that looked pretty amazing, and red Masir. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. These guys were very active, back and forth. Not sure if I know anything about them, but they looked pretty cool. They also had a jumbo clown loach in there, which wasn't really coming out, but definitely the biggest clown loach I have ever seen, and not a cheap one at that. Another one, oddball fish that I don't know anything about, is this next one, which is a green wolf fish. and it was not very active as well. But I don't know, something else was very interesting that I hadn't seen before. They also had a red-tailed barracuda, which I saw this thing sitting at the bottom of the tank. Then it opened up its mouth, and when you could see its fangs just sticking out, those huge teeth, I could tell that this is definitely a pretty aggressive fish and something that you're going to be feeding other fish to. Don't know how big they get, but it was pretty awesome to see. And then some more datinoids in that tank with them. They had a ton of really beautiful, fully grown discus. Not cheap, but absolutely stunning discus that if I was setting up a really nice show tank of discus and money wasn't an option, I would definitely grab a ton of these. In this tank, they have, that you'll see in a second, a pleco called a luteus phase 2, which is another one that I hadn't heard of. It's an incredibly rare pleco that changes colors as it grows. And this one was a luteus phase 2 that you'll see in a second. It also didn't really want to come out for me, but one of the most beautiful plecos that I had ever seen. Lots of different kinds of discus here, and I'm not sure if they had any wild caught. These next ones that you're going to see kind of have more of the wild type colorations to them, but they were definitely very beautiful. And I'm sorry I couldn't get a better shot of him, but here is the back end of that luteus phase 2 pleco. I don't know anybody who knows much about these other than this store. So if you know anything about it, tell me, because it looks amazing. There were a few other kind of rarer plecos, this blue phantom pleco, and I don't know what these two are on the bottom. They don't look like that rare fish, but they definitely very pretty. And I loved this tank, the way that it was lit. Had these tigrinus cats, which looked pretty cool, and the Priaba cats, which were another awesome one. A few different puffers that I saw while I was there. There were two of them that I believe were a type of Asian puffer, which are not ones that I had seen or heard of, but they were very active and looked pretty good. This guy had some kind of something on his belly. It looked like he was recovering from something, but the other one was incredibly active. Also, they had a spotted Congo puffer, which was hanging out at the bottom like they usually do, trying to ambush something. But this guy right here, look at him. He was just ready to go home with anybody. I sat there watching him for a while, and he was the one that I talked to the owner, Lewis, about for a minute, and apparently don't come in very often, whatever he is. He was very active and very happy. Puffer is definitely another one that is on my list of fish that I would love to keep. Just the happiest fish that I have ever seen. The feeding requirements are the only thing that really keeps me from getting them. I just don't have the time to dedicate to getting the food and the money to getting the food that they would need to be able to be healthy in the way they need to. Not to mention, a lot of these fish that I have on my bucket list, I don't have just because I want to give them the absolute best home that they deserve. And I think that's true of a lot of the fish that you see here. Don't buy them on a whim. Buy them because you know what you're getting and you've planned ahead because they deserve it. And these last few tanks are shrimp tanks. They had a handful of rows of Caridina shrimp that all looked pretty good. Not a ton of them in there. I don't know if they sold a lot or if they just don't sell a lot, so they don't keep a lot. But they all looked pretty good, and there were quite a few in their selection. But overall, this was an incredible fish store tour, and I'm excited to tell you which one of these fish that I bought. If you want to maybe win a game that is nobody else is playing but you, pause the video right here and go down in the comment section and try to guess which one that I bought. Drum roll, please. The Vieja Argentina, one of the most beautiful cichlids in existence, and now it's mine. Don't mind the dirty quarantine tank, but I can't wait to watch this incredible fish grow out. So hit the like button if you saw a fish you liked, and I'll see you in the next one. Fish list out.